Hello, everyone, and welcome to our open informational session all about the Legal Nurse Consultant Training Course from the Center for Legal Studies. If that's what you're here for, you're in the right spot. We'll get things kicked off in just a minute to allow everyone to join us. Make sure your audio and video is up and running. Our webinar today will start with a presentation from our Director of Sales, Stephanie, as well as our special guest, Lisa, who is a current LNC instructor at the Center for Legal Studies. Following the presentation, we'll be here for about 15 minutes to answer your questions all about the course and the LNC career field. So be sure to drop your questions down in the chat feature below, and either one of our enrollment counselors working in the background here will get back to you in the chat, or we'll address it during the live Q&A. With that, I'm going to introduce Stephanie Elio from the Center for Legal Studies, who will get our presentation started today. Take it away, Stephanie.
Thanks so much, Emily. I want to welcome you. I am Stephanie Elio. I am one of the directors with the Center for Legal Studies. As just mentioned, we do have a tech team in the background that's going to be answering live chat throughout our presentation today, and we will have a dedicated Q&A at the end. Everyone, we're very grateful that you took time out of your busy day to be with us here. When you submit those chat questions and inquiries, please be kind. Make those questions relevant, and we'll try to get to as many as possible. The Center for Legal Studies is a legal education company. We are educational partners with continuing and professional education companies or institutions throughout the country. We do specialize in providing legal support training. Our courses are 100% online. They are instructor-led. You've got great connectivity with the instructors and peers throughout your courses. And throughout this presentation, we're going to talk in detail about how that online delivery works. We're going to look at a little bit of the course overview, the actual schedules, and the career outlook. I will be joined today by one of our instructors, Lisa Van Essenveld, and she's going to give you a really great overview of a day in the life of an LNC. The next course start date is August 24th. We do have 6 start dates per year. That just happens to be the very next opportunity. We'll go ahead and dig right in. The Center for Legal Studies was founded in 1980. We are in our 40th year of bringing legal support staff training, that is job skills training, to interested students. We pride ourselves on not only affordable and flexible training, but the fact that we provide the practical, applicable skills you actually need to do the job. When you complete one of our courses, Legal Nurse in particular, you leave with a certificate that proves you've been trained. You are ready to go to work. Add those letters to your name after you're completed and get busy. The Center doesn't only do legal nurse consultant. We specialize in a multitude of other areas like paralegal, where you can set up an entire track to not only learn basic skills, but advance your career, get in-depth training in family law, immigration law, criminal law, etc. We train for legal secretaries, legal investigation, software training, employment law. There are so many that you could view on our website. But today we all came here for one purpose, and that is to learn about the Legal Nurse Consultant Training Course. Our online delivery is an asynchronous virtual classroom. Basically, that means that the course is instructor-led and you have classmates. When a course begins, students are all issued a username and a password that gives them 24/7 access into our system where the course is delivered. You don't need any special software. Simple internet access and some kind of writing program will suffice. There are video and printed tutorials that make navigating your course a breeze. We have also got enrollment counselors that are available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you wanted to have them help you navigate our website for additional information, such as the actual syllabus for the course, how to get registered, what the overview and preview of the online portal look like? Our enrollment counselors can help you do any of those things. We also not only provide the instruction for the course, but have administrative and technical support for all students that are enrolled. As I mentioned, there are opportunities to interact with your instructors and classmates. You're going to meet one of our instructors for our Legal Nurse Consultant Training Course in a moment. But before, I want to let you know that all instructors that work for CLS and teach our courses are professionals in their field. We always look for a perfect storm of qualifications. Not only are they experts in their field, but they're also still currently working in the field. So they are up to date and on pace with what's happening in today's world. These courses are designed for busy adult learners. I mentioned a moment ago that you would have 24/7 access to the course. That is key, especially for our nurses, because we know you guys have got some crazy schedules. The instructors typically will post what the written and reading assignments are on Monday morning. Deadlines are typically at the end of the week. So with that 24/7 access, you're in charge of determining your schedule. You decide when you log in, when you're going to do your reading assignments, when you're going to do your writing assignments. You just meet each week's deadline. As our instructors are typically working full-time jobs themselves, they will let students know in their class what office hours they may keep throughout that 7-week period. There's also built-in email tools for easy communication with not only your instructor, but your peers. And you can also set up meetings if you need to have a more in-depth conversation with your instructor. Those weekly deadlines are designed to keep you on track. This is an accelerated course, and it is completed in a single 7-week session. Next, I want to introduce our instructor, our guest speaker for today, Lisa Van Essenfeld. She's going to talk to you about her role as an LNC, her career, and how it's progressed, and a little bit about the actual curriculum of the course and what you can look forward to learning. Take it away, Lisa.
Thanks, Stephanie. Thank you all for joining us. So I, probably not unlike all of you, was a nurse for a very long time, started at a very young age, and then got to a point in my career where I had raised children. I had done probably every aspect of nursing on the floor that I could do, even school nursing to stock my children. And then after hurting myself on the floor and not being able to work clinically anymore, I wanted something else to do and wasn't quite sure what to do. And I got one of those little pink and purple mailers that we all get in the mail that says, you can become a legal nurse consultant and make a whole lot of money for just $13,000 for our course. And I had no idea what it was. So I picked up the phone and I called a friend of mine who's a defense attorney for medical malpractice and said to him, Scott, what is this? And he said, oh, you would love this. It's very cerebral. It's very clinical. It's patient oriented. You would be great at it, but don't spend that kind of money. There's absolutely no reason to. So he took me under his wing and I started reviewing some cases for him. He taught me things that I never knew. From a nursing perspective, we all know that medical malpractice is out there and it's kind of this ambiguous thing. So as he taught me about the different aspects of legal nurse consulting and the way that I would be looking at charts differently than I did clinically, I felt comfortable finally thinking about getting a job. So I saw a job posted for a law firm for an in-house legal nurse consultant, and I called Scott and said, do you know this firm? What do you think? And when he told me that he had just lost a trial to them, I decided that was where I wanted to work. So I put in my application and they took a chance on me and began my life as an LNC. And I have to say that I enjoy every day. It's like, where's Waldo on steroids. I spend my days going through charts, doing chronologies with a very different eye, not necessarily the way that we looked at a chart as a nurse, so much as a nurse plus. So you look at it with an eye of, were there deviations from the standard of care? Were things done properly? Were these known and accepted risks? So I spend time in charts. I spend time talking to clients, which I missed my patient interaction very much because that's always the heart of a nurse. I spend time speaking with medical experts, doctors that are experts in their field with the biggest and the brightest institutions. So I have all of that interaction that I used to have on a clinical basis. Now I have from a legal perspective. In 2013, I started teaching with the Center for Legal Studies, and in 2015, I actually sat for and passed my my national certification test to be a certified legal nurse consultant. So when I started teaching the course here, I did it initially as an in-person live class, and much like that class, the online format is a great preparation for what you would be doing as a legal nurse consultant. As Stephanie mentioned, you know, there is 24-hour access, which is great because as nurses, like she said, we know we work some crazy schedules. So we have to, between fitting it in with family and fitting it in with our clinical studies, furthering our education in this area is going to have to be worked in when you can do it. It's an easy interactive platform that you can use, and the syllabus is online for you to review, but the types of things that are talked about in this course are the professional ethics, then intro to law, how to look at medical records, how to construct a chronology, the different areas that you can be an LNC. You can be an LNC in a clinical institution through risk management types of areas. You can be full-time in-house law firm, or you can also be an expert witness, sitting in trial and giving opinions regarding the care that was rendered. We talk about the litigation process and different practice areas, and those are the things that I do every day. So the idea of the course is to give you increased knowledge in legal nurse consulting. So when we look at applying for a job as a legal nurse consultant, once you've completed this course, you're able to put LNC behind your name. This gives you a credibility. So what an attorney is looking for and what they were looking for in me when I first applied is first and foremost that you're an RN. You bring to the table that medical side. With this course, it gives you a foundation of the legal portion as well. So when you are applying to a job, even though you've not stepped foot in a law firm or in a risk management department, this course has really given you the basics of what would be looked for in someone who's able to further a law firm. This course is a certificate course that gives you the prep that you need for the national certification, the process to begin that. So the different places that you can, oops, I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, back to the slide, I'm so sorry. So through this course, all of the different areas that you're going to work in are going to either be in-house or independently. So this course prepares you for becoming a legal nurse consultant that can sit for the certification as well. So this is the only course that, excuse me, so it's the only certification preparatory class that allows you to begin your career to get the hours that you need for the AALNC's test for your national certification. So the difference between the certificate course that you see sometimes and the national certification test is that the LNCC, or the Legal Nurse Consultant Certified, is based on your standing as an RN, as well as your time put in as a legal nurse consultant. So in order to sit for the national certification, you need to have a nursing degree in good standing. You need to have 5 years of clinical practice, and then you also need to have 2,000 hours of documented legal nurse consulting. That's what allows you to sit for the national certification. The certificate that you get through our course is a certificate that goes onto your resume under your education, so that the law firms that are looking at you, or the risk management that is looking at you, can see that you've had training in how to be a legal nurse consultant and further their area. Earning potential is varied depending on where you decide to practice, whether it be in-house or if you're independent as far as testimony or just reviewing records and giving medical advice to the attorneys, often doing trial prep with them, prepping your experts. There's different areas that you can pursue in each of those.
So I want to expand just a little bit on that last slide before I talk about our college and university partners. Everything that Lisa just shared with us, absolutely. Having this certificate in hand, adding it to your resume, that's what gives you the credibility to not only demonstrate your professionalism in your field and your experience as a nurse, but that you have taken on additional education to bridge that experience over to the legal side. So having that is certainly going to put you in a much better position when you're looking to be hired as an LNC. Like it says on the screen here, you know, they don't only work in law firms, they also work in administrative roles. Healthcare institutions have got legal departments. Insurance companies fight a tremendous amount of claims that have medical components to those cases, and they need someone to advise from the medical standpoint. The state and government agencies, they also work in forensic testimony. There was a comment that Lisa made about being RNs. We very frequently get questions about if I'm an LPN, if I'm a CNA. We're going to address this at the tail end in more depth for the dedicated Q&A at the end of our presentation. But I want you to know, and I know that Lisa's going to echo me in this, that the RN LPN title is not as significant in going to work as an LNC. What's more important than having that title is the level of experience you bring to the table. That's what makes you an expert. Somebody that's been in nursing for 1, 2, 3 years, you're still learning the ropes. You're still gaining that experience. But if you've been an LPN for 20 years versus an RN for 3, that 20 years experience is going to trump. Okay, let's talk about how the Center for Legal Studies works with our college and university partners. As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, and this screen here just shows a very small sampling of some of our partners. Our courses are offered through continuing and professional education departments at almost 200 college and universities nationwide. The likelihood of us having a school partner near where you are is very, very high. And we recommend that when you're looking for a school to designate, you go on our website. You can either, on the homepage, there's a Google map. You can click the closest dot to where you live to see which school is there, or you can do a find a course search from our homepage, put in legal nurse consultant, put online, click search. It's going to give you a national list of every one of our partner schools that will offer this particular course. The pricing is going to be identical regardless of which school you choose. The schedule is going to be identical and the curriculum delivered is going to be the same because the courses aren't owned by the school. They're not taught by the school. They are taught by the Center for Legal Studies and instructors that work with us. Now, upon completion of this particular course, you're going to earn 2 certificates. One, a certificate of completion from the college or university that you select when you register. The second certificate will come from the Center for Legal Studies because we hold accreditation on this course and we will issue CEUs. This is a 42 clock hour course and you will receive CEUs from the Center for Legal Studies. You started to talk about the AALNC a little bit earlier. Do you want to repeat just a little bit of that, Lisa, for our audience?
Sure, absolutely. So the AALNC is the association that was formed to kind of streamline and bring all the LNCs together and centralize it so that everyone's expectations were the same. There is a national certification through them. It is the only national certification, and it is based, like I said, not only on your standing as an RN, your clinical status as an RN, the amount of years that you've been in clinical status, and how many hours you put in as an LNC. So in order to qualify, like I said, you need 2,000 hours of LNC practice, that needs to be verifiable. And then you also need to have your RN in good standing along with 5 years. And even though to sit for the national certification, you need all of these things, as an LNC, you don't need all of these things to be an LNC. A lot of times people get concerned because you're saying, okay, I need 2,000 hours as an LNC, but if I don't become an LNC, I can't get 2,000 hours. And if I don't have 2,000 hours, I can't be an LNC. So upon completion of this course, you can use those letters LNC because you have that foundational education on what the legal expectations of a nurse are. And you can gain those hours toward sitting for the AALNC's certification. It's not mandatory. It's not a necessary thing to have. It's one of those things where, like a lot of us who go on for our certifications, whether it's in NICU or ICU or ER, it's just one step further in your educational level and in your credentialing to give you some a better level of presentation to the community, saying, I am on a national level and I have the education, I have the certification, and I can further your business and my career through this.
And it's also something that if you've been in the legal nurse consulting field for a while, at that point in time, you're likely to want to give back. Perhaps you're going to be mentoring others. Having that higher credential becomes more valuable at that point. But we just want to reiterate, this is not a necessary step to work as a legal nurse consultant. Completion of the 7-week online course, having that certificate, adding it to your resume is sufficient to go to work. And that's what this program is all about. The actual how to pay for the course. First, I want to let you know that the Center for Legal Studies Continuing and Professional Education courses are open enrollment. What that means is there is no application process. You don't have to wait to be accepted. Open enrollment means anyone can take this. Now, with Legal Nurse Consultant, we do strongly recommend that students have that medical background. We want you to be in a course that is a fit for you. So whether you are an RN, an LPN, even possibly a CNA that's got years and years of experience, this course has value for you. The cost of tuition is $1,195. That does pay for the entire 7-week course. There is an optional $89 subscription to Westlaw. That's an online law library resource. I want to tell you, that is strictly optional. There are no actual assignments for the Westlaw training. That would occur if legal research becomes something that you are really interested in, you want to learn more about that, then perhaps you'll want to take our paralegal certificate course. There is actual hands-on training for Westlaw in that program. We also have a lot of nurses that get so excited about taking this course, they want to further their career in legal, and they go on to take the paralegal certificate course. So that may be something you want to investigate. But all CLS students, regardless of what course you are enrolled in, are able to take advantage of our $89 Westlaw rate. That is for 7 weeks, totally optional. Tuition is required to be paid before the course begins. And we do have ways to do that. Majority of our students choose to pay on a credit card and then pay it back as their personal budget allows. In the last couple of months, we've also added Affirm. That is a third-party payment process firm where you can take the tuition and the books, put it into your shopping cart. When you go to check out, there is a box there that says, would you like to look into Affirm? It's got a really quick, I think it's like a minute and a half, maybe 2-minute process. You fill out a quick form. It's only a soft hit on your credit. They will come back to you. It is a credit-bearing decision, but it accepts a really wide range of credit. They'll come back to you and give you options. You can pay it back in 3, 6, 9, 12, up to 18 months. They'll tell you exactly what those payments are. They'll tell you what the interest rate is. And at that point in time, you can make a choice. Do you want to do it in payments, or do you just want to do the lump sum? To enroll, there's multiple ways to do that. The easiest way, honestly, is on our website at www.legalstudies.com. Simply pull up the course page, scroll down till you get to the course schedule section. You're going to see the online schedule, which always shows you 6 online sessions per year. The next opportunity is, in fact, August 24th. That's just a couple weeks away. It's right around the bend. But our website will always show you a full 12-month in advance. The most of our schools, out of the almost 200 that we work with, I let you know that you can find those on our website. 80% of those schools, you can register right there. If it happens to be one of our partner schools that actually takes the registration themselves, CLS is still going to deliver your training, but if that school takes registration, it's going to tell you on our website. It will say to register, call school, or click here, and it'll take you to their website. Either way you do it, it is a very simple process. If you need any help navigating that, or if you have questions, even after you watch this webinar, and you want to speak to our enrollment counselors, they are available Monday through Friday, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and can be reached by the number on the screen, 1-800-522-7737. And our web address is legalstudies.com. The next course, again, is starting up very, very soon. We would love to have you join us. I know many of you have already gotten information that we've emailed. We are thrilled that you've taken the time to join us today. And at this point in time, I think we're getting ready to open it up to some questions.
Yes, thank you, Stephanie and Lisa, for that great presentation. As we said, we're going to answer some of your questions here live. If you have a question, please put it in the chat and we'll either respond directly or here live on the webinar. If we don't get to your question, again, as Stephanie said, our enrollment counselors are ready and available for your questions. So we'll put that number and email up again at the end of the webinar. So let's get started with our first question. Stephanie, something you alluded to earlier, but let's get into some more detail about who this course is made for. Is it only for RNs, and how does it differ from the medical professional certification that Center for Legal Studies offers?
So our legal nurse consultant course is for nurses. There are many different kinds of nurses. I'm going to let Lisa speak to the actual AALNC exam and whether or not that fully requires that you are at the level of an RN. But as far as working as a legal nurse consultant, you need the years of experience, whether you're an LPN or an RN. It's those years of experience that you bring to the table, and you bring the value to the firm or the agency or the insurance company or administrative group that is going to be utilizing your skill set. So as far as the ability to sit for the test, which is not mandatory, takes place much later in your career, is that requirement, Lisa, strictly for RNs?
Yes, so in order to sit for the certification through the AALNC, you have to be an RN with an active unrestricted license. You have to have at least 5 years worth of clinical, and then the 2,000 hours of documented LNC work, be it through a risk management company, a law firm, a government agency. It has to be documentable that you've had those hours. So RN is the level at which you could obtain your national certification.
But to work as an LNC, this course is sufficient.
Correct.
And this will render you employable in this field.
Yes, absolutely. So like I said, what they're looking for is they're looking for your medical background in order to be able to provide that to them. They'll provide you with the legal side of it and the things that you need. Once you've had the foundation of this class, they'll build on that. But they really are interested in your medical expertise. So in working for the law firm that I worked in, I hired under me other nurses. I hired under me an LPN, and the most recent, just before I left my last firm, I had hired a CNA who had a really great handle of medicine and had worked in the field for a long time, and she was invaluable because she had an idea of what the standard of care is for nursing and was able to function in this role very well.
Next question, Emily.
Thank you, Lisa. And Stephanie, can you speak to how this is a different course than our MPLC certificate course?
Sure. We have offered the Legal Nurse Consultant Training Course for many, many years. I have been with CLS almost 12 years, and it was here for a good 15 to 20 before I arrived. Over the years, it's become increasingly popular and more well attended. And a couple years back, we decided that we were leaving a lot of medical folks out of the loop that also brought equal value based on their field of medicine. So we created a brand new credential. The Legal Nurse Consultant is a much more widely known title. The MPLC, Medical Professional Legal Consultant, was created for all the other medical folks that can also work with insurance companies, testify at trials, help in investigative processes, and bring value to preparing for a case. Those would include chiropractors, dentists, orthodontists, optometrists, pharmacists, doctors, physician assistants, all those other medical professionals. Whereas our Legal Nurse Consultant course yields CEUs, and we do hold additional credentials for that the course we're talking about today. Our MPLC course is also endorsed by the AAPA. That's the American Association of Physician Assistants, and it, rather than yield CEUs for nursing, it yields Category 1 CME, Continuing Medical Education units, and those are Category 1.
Thank you, Stephanie. Next question is, how many hours should someone plan on allocating to their coursework? And can you speak to how the course is flexible for working parents and those working full-time or with other busy schedules?
Absolutely. The average for any of our courses is about 8 to 12 hours per week. We mentioned earlier that this course is accessible 24/7 during that 7-week period. Things that will go into determining how many hours you spend, because we can't answer that very specifically for you. What you need to consider are, how are your time management skills? What are your study habits like? How is your reading comprehension? If you're the type of person that can read things on a first run, retain well, understand and comprehend them quickly, then you're going to spend less time. There's a lot of reading in this program. If you're the type of person that needs to read things multiple times to grasp them and be able to display that you are understanding the concepts and put them back out in your own words, it's going to take you a little longer. But the beautiful thing is you've got 24/7 access. You're the one in control of your schedule. You can log on at 5 o'clock in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 6 p.m., 9 o'clock at night after you put the kids to bed. Do it on the weekends when you're not doing something else. You maintain control of that. So as long as you're meeting your weekly deadlines, you're good to go.
Great, thank you, Stephanie. Lisa, I think you mentioned this a bit earlier, but if you can speak to again about what taking this course adds to someone's resume and what they're able to add there, and if you can speak to what impression it leaves with hiring firms to have this course on your resume.
Absolutely. So upon completion of this program, you are given a certificate that you've completed the legal nurse consulting certificate program. That gets put on your resume under your education. So when you're listing all of the different certifications, classes that you've taken even as an RN or an LPN, this gets added in that area of education. What it adds for your hireability and for your employment status is that an attorney or a risk management firm knows that you have the basis of the law that you're going to need in order to work in their firm. They're not starting from ground zero with you. They know that they're getting your RN. They know that they're getting your LPN, but now they know that they've already got some groundwork to work on, to build upon. So you're not walking in the door having never heard terms like liability, causation, damages, all those buzzwords and things that we look for as an LNC. If you walk in the door having never heard those, number one, your salary level will be lower because you're at a lower entry level, but also their willingness to take a chance on you and hire you is a little bit lower as well, because there's a lot of work they're going to have to put into you. You also are able to present at an interview with a much more law-oriented interview and knowing the terms and the process of the law, which is what they practice. So it gives you an ability to walk in there with a confidence that you're able to say, I have a basis of knowledge that we'll be able to build on. So here's my RN and my experience and my medical, and now I can also offer the legal end of it as well.
Because the more education and training you have, the more valuable you are. And when an employer has a role to fill, they're looking for someone to hit the ground running. They want to know that you have been trained, and that's exactly what a certificate will show them. Your resume is going to show that you've got years of experience in the field, in the medical side. The certificate is going to show that you have got recent, relevant legal training. That's what bridges the gap over to what they're looking to fill.
Great, thank you both. Can you speak to if the Center for Legal Studies helps with career placement, or can you give any job search advice on ways to get initial experience in the field after being certified?
I think I'll start that and let Lisa finish that one up. We'll kind of tag team it again. As far as placement, no. We do not do any placement for any of our training programs at this time. We do have a careers page on our website where firms and agencies have hired our graduates in the past. Anytime they have an opening, that's where they're going to post it because they know the quality of our graduates. So you can certainly look there, but I don't have a crystal ball and we can't promise something in your area when you're done. Look at that. If something pops up, great. If it's a fit. If not, look at it anyway because it's going to show you the types of places to be looking. And then the advice for this role is the same as advice we'd give to any one of our students, and that would be cast a wide net. Don't only look in one place. All major job boards, social networking, LinkedIn, talk to people you know. What would you add to that, Lisa?
So I think those are all great places to look for LNC positions. And one encouragement that I always give my students is if you see a posting for an LNC, and typically it'll say something to the effect of RN for 5 to 10 years, LNC experience 5 years, don't take that on its face and don't be afraid to apply, because with the LNC certificate behind you, your RN, those things often fall by the wayside when you have your resume in front of them. They see your experience as an RN, they see the certificate, and they will be willing to take a chance on you much more quickly. So don't be afraid to apply for jobs that are what you would think would be outside of your reach, because they're often not. And then also just networking. The bar association in your area will have a listing of firms. Doctors in your area also, reaching out to them, asking if you can do reviews of their records and of their cases, just to get an idea and further your ability to be comfortable with the chart, and not being afraid to take a chance.
Just because an ad for any job says that they want you to have experience, those are written by an HR hiring professional, not necessarily the person that's interviewing you or the people that you're going to be working with. Apply for those jobs anyway.
Great, thank you. And kind of going off of that question, I know we spoke a little bit earlier about the various career paths for LNCs, but can you speak to the many ways people can work as an LNC, whether it's private practice, working for yourself, or particularly in this time, is there remote work available for LNCs?
So there are different avenues that you can take. There are LNCs who do private practice. So in private practice, you can work for multiple law firms or multiple risk managements, reviewing charts, doing chronologies, and doing summaries of a case, making a recommendation whether there was a deviation from the standard of care and you feel that there is something that they should pursue. Or if it is not a case, because unfortunately we all know that there are known and accepted risks, and sometimes that's just what it is, but you're able to offer that to multiple areas. That offers you the ability to set your own rate of pay, but it also does not give you the stability of working in-house somewhere. Working in-house somewhere, you could be working in risk management in a hospital, you could be working for a defense or insurance company, a plaintiff's company, through insurance through workers' comp or medical malpractice insurance. And those offer a more stable environment. Sometimes it depends on your level of desire for risk and what your needs are. But when it comes to working as an LNC, if you're going to be looking to do any kind of testimony, often they look for a higher level of education. So a master's in nursing or certification as an ER nurse, or your ICU certification or your PACU certification. Those are going to be the specialties that they look for when you're looking to do testimony, just because it brings more credibility in front of a jury.
We're getting near the end of our time here today, but I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions. This might be another good question for Lisa, because we talked about how the course can be balanced with everything else in life, but does working in a career as an LNC, are you able to balance that with still continuing to work as a bedside nurse or in another career field at the same time?
You can. So as I mentioned, you can do this independently, doing reviews. That's how I started, and I was working clinically. So I reviewed for a couple of law firms, and I would do them at night when my children were sleeping, after my shift was done. During break time at the office, I would pull out my charts and do some review in between patients. So when you're working independently, you definitely have that availability. There are also some offices that will hire on a either part-time basis or a per diem basis. And again, you can work kind of remotely and do your reviews as you have the time and kind of fit them into your life, and then decide from there if you're going to do more and more and transition from clinical to LNC full-time, or if you're just going to balance the two as you go forward.
Great, thank you, Lisa. And Stephanie, one last question for you. If you can just clarify again the relationship between the Center for Legal Studies and our university partners, and what that means as far as choosing the school of their choice.
Sure. The Center for Legal Studies is an educational partner with accredited college and universities throughout the nation. We work with the continuing and professional education departments at those schools. The courses belong to the Center for Legal Studies. They are taught by the Center for Legal Studies. Upon completion, our partner school will be issuing your certificate of completion. So when you add that education item to your resume, the Center for Legal Studies is very proud of the work we do. We are proud of our students that go through our courses and the roles they fill in the working world upon completion. But when you put it on your resume, you want to put the school's name. That's why we recommend you choose one of the schools that is geographically close to you. Not that you ever need to go to campus. You don't. This is 100% online. But that name will be recognized on your resume by those potential employers. Our educational partners review our curriculum. They've been working with us for many, many years. And it's not an uncommon practice for continuing and professional education to contract training out to training specialist, which is what we are. We are the specialists for legal support staff training in this country.
Great, thank you, Stephanie. So with that, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you again to everyone for attending today. If you have any further questions and did not get them answered during the webinar, please feel free to reach out to us. You can go to legalstudies.com, and there you can find our phone number, our email, and all the ways you can reach out to us. And again, our enrollment counselors are available and ready to help you personally if you have individual questions. We will be sending out the video recording of this webinar if you would like to watch it back. So look out for that in your inbox by the end of the week. As mentioned, our next courses begin on August 24th. So now is the perfect time to visit legalstudies.com and enroll today. Thank you again, and thank you especially to Stephanie and Lisa. We really appreciate your time today. Have a good day, everybody.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon.